You wake up with a new obsession. By noon, you've bought the books, joined the forums, and mapped out a 3-year plan. But 3 weeks later, that spark is gone. The equipment sits in a corner, gathering a thin layer of dust, a silent monument to a version of you that no longer exists. You look at your peers, people who picked one path and stayed on it for a decade. They are specialists, they are experts. And you? You feel like a permanent amateur, a ghost haunting 100 different lives, but living none of them fully. You wonder if you're just lazy, or if there is something fundamentally broken in the way you're wired. But what if this internal chaos isn't a lack of discipline? What if it's an architectural feature of your brain that you haven't learned to pilot yet? The guilt of the unfinished is a heavy weight. It affects your identity. You start to see yourself as a quitter. It affects your relationships as people stop taking your new ventures seriously. Your self-talk becomes a loop of, why can't I just stick to one thing? In psychology, this often stems from high trait openness, one of the big 5 personality markers. To you, a new idea isn't just a thought, it's a hit of pure possibility. But why does that hit always wear off? You aren't broken. You are likely a neophiliac, someone with a biological craving for novelty. In an ancestral environment, your brain would have been the one to find the new watering hole or the better tool. Your distraction was actually an adaptation for survival. You aren't failing to focus. You are responding to a neurological appetite that most people don't have. The mechanism behind this is located in your ventral striatum, the brain's reward center. When you encounter a new interest, your brain releases a surge of dopamine. Think of it as the search and discover system. However, there is a mental model we can use called the horizon of competence. When a hobby is new, the learning curve is steep and the rewards, dopamine, are frequent. But as soon as you hit the plateau of practice, where improvement requires boring, repetitive effort, the dopamine drops. Your brain interprets this drop as a signal that the resource has been exhausted. It tells you to move on to the next island to find more rewards. You are living in an archipelago of potential, but you haven't built any bridges between the islands. To master this, we need a framework grounded in cognitive science. Step 1. The Curiosity Audit. Instead of diving into every interest, observe it for 72 hours. This is based on the cooling-off period in behavioral economics. By waiting, you allow your prefrontal cortex to catch up with your impulsive reward system. If the interest survives 3 days of silence, it's a candidate for your time. Example: you see a beautiful woodworking video. Instead of buying a saw, you write the idea in a notebook and wait. Most urges vanish by day 3. Step 2. Dopaminergic pacing. Lower the stakes. Psychologically, we often quit because we set expert-level expectations for beginner-level energy. Use the 20% rule. Only allow yourself to learn the first 20% of a subject. In many fields, the first 20% of knowledge gives you 80% of the functional results. By giving yourself permission to stop early, you remove the guilt of quitting and turn it into strategic sampling. Example: learn 3 chords on a guitar instead of trying to master a symphony. The win stays a win. Step 3. The hub and spoke model. Tie your new interests to one hub, a core skill you already have. In neuroscience, this is called associative learning. If you love photography, don't just learn cooking. Learn food photography. By anchoring the new to the old, your brain doesn't have to build a new network from scratch, reducing the cognitive load that leads to burnout. Think of your life not as a straight line, but as a polymath's compass. Each new interest is a different direction, but they all rotate around one center: you. You are not a series of failed starts. You are a collector of perspectives. The specialist sees the tree. You see the forest, the soil, and the way the wind moves between the branches. Your many interests are not a sign of weakness. They are the raw materials for a unique kind of wisdom that the world desperately needs, the ability to connect dots that others don't even see. Stop asking why you can't finish. Start asking what you've gathered along the way. The many versions of you are not competing for space. They are waiting for you to realize they all belong to the same person. Be patient with your curiosity. It is the only thing that knows where you are truly going. One day, the dots will connect. Until then, keep collecting.